still view it at a later time. Click Got It on the, I'm sorry, you can still view us at a later time on our AARP YouTube channel. Please click Got It when it appears on your screen. Now, if you're not familiar, AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering people to choose how they live as they age. Now, with nearly 38 million members, AARP works to strengthen communities and advocate for what matters most, what they focus on health security, financial resilience, and social connection. Today's program will focus on livable communities and well-beings. Who's in the audience today, Jacqueline? What do you see in the chat? And if you haven't already, please put your name, your city you're zooming from, and your family fur member. Jacqueline, what do you see?
I see a lot of pets. I see a lot of dogs, a lot of cats. Nancy from the village in Florida is with us today. Lynn is with us with her Dexter, her cat. Martha San Diego is with us with Dakota and Penny. Carol's from Houston with Buster. Michael from Tulsa, Oklahoma with Frida and Shadow, a dog and a cat.
Yeah, a dog and a cat. Oh, great.
And we have Andrea from Long Range, her dog Candy. We have Rochelle from New York with Tipper. We have cats, dogs, a lot of rescue animals. We have a lot of pets to talk about today.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for sharing in the chat. We're delighted to have all of you join us today and hope you have your coffee, tea, or other beverage with you. We are excited to share with you caring for your furry family as you age. And it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Rachel Stone. Rachel joined AARP in 2018 as an associate state director in Pasadena. She is responsible for community education team in the LA area and working to expand AARP's community presence and volunteer engagement opportunities through the Home Fit and Do-It-Yourself Toolkit programs. Now, prior to joining AARP, Rachel worked for the Division of Palliative Medicine at UC San Francisco and as a program manager for the Hospice and Palliative Medicine Fellowship and the Palliative Care Quality Network, which is PCQN. Now, per our traditions, and to add some spice to this introduction, here's some fun facts about Rachel. As a kid, Rachel's family had 2 Great Danes, a bulldog, 2 cats, and a goldfish named Elvis. She loves to travel, and the farthest she has gone is New Zealand. Rachel graduated from UC Santa Cruz and is a proud banana slug. Working from home, she often has the explore.org live nature cam playing in the background. Let's welcome Rachel.
Thank you so much, Joyce, for that warm introduction. And let me go ahead and pull up my slides and we'll kick this off. All right, if I just could get a thumbs up if you're seeing this. Perfect. Yes. All Let's right. Go. Well, I was having a lot of fun reading through all of your introductions in the chat. Welcome again. And thank you so much for joining Caring for Your Fur Family as You Age. Owning a pet can bring so much joy into our lives, but it is important to think through additional considerations that do affect pet ownership as we get older. We are also going to spend a bit of time talking about the care of older pets. But before we go any further, I know you've been introduced to me, but again, I'm Rachel Stone, Associate Director for Advocacy and Community Engagement in AARP California, based in Los Angeles. Also the proud owner of my senior rescue dog, Peppa. Now, I'd like to kick us off with a poll. And you'll see that launched in just a moment, just to get a sense of who is in the room and what your pet ownership status is. So click as many as are applicable to you, but just interested in what kind of pets you may have, or maybe you don't have one, but you're considering, or maybe you're here for a loved one who has a pet. So we'll leave this open for just a few seconds more. All right, give it about 5 more seconds. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so we have a good amount of dog owners, cat owners, and then a few who are considering. That's great. So we're going to try to address questions for both, for those who are current pet owners and those who are considering. So thanks for replying to that. So I want to start with how pets benefit your health, because that is one of the biggest benefits of pet ownership, is that it positively impacts your health. A 2019 study by AARP and the University of Michigan Medical Center showed that pets help significantly in reducing social isolation. And in fact, pet owners, especially dog owners, are 60% more likely than non-pet owners to get to know people in their neighborhoods that they hadn't known before, avoiding social isolation. And these benefits are even more pronounced for older pet owners who live alone or struggle with their health, 72% of whom say that pets help them cope with both physical and emotional symptoms. Now, the same study found that pet ownership can actually help prevent cognitive decline. Findings were that long-term pet owners, so those who have owned a pet for 5 or more years, had a cognitive health score that was 1.2 points higher compared to non-pet owners. And one major reason for this is the stress buffering effects of pet ownership. Pets can help reduce stress, provide you with a sense of purpose, both of which have a positive impact on your cognitive health. And of course, another great benefit of pet ownership is that it encourages physical activity. So walking your dog, playing with your cat, changing out the water in the aquarium, or just the day-to-day care can really be a great way to stay active and improve your overall health. Now, a 2022 Japanese study found that pet owners, especially dog owners, over the age of 65 with pre-existing heart conditions had a 21% reduction in cardiovascular related deaths compared to non-pet owners. A lot of this has to do with the increased physical activity that pet owners get. Increased physical activity also is connected to better cognitive health, as you're circulating more oxygen through the body that gets to the brain. And even the act of petting an animal is good for your health. It releases what's known as those happy chemicals, so dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. But it is important as a pet owner to really be careful around the house to ensure both your safety and the safety of your pet. Um, Despite the many benefits of pet ownership, there are some hazards to think through. So you want to watch for slippage. So making sure that water hasn't spilled or any other waste is not on the floor, and just be prompt about cleaning up any spills. I also recommend placing a water absorbing mat under your water bowl, and that will help absorb the water and prevent drippage. Of course, tripping is a big concern, so you want to make sure that you've cleared your walkways, hallways, and stairs of any pet toys, bowls, leashes, and have a designated place where all of that stuff is kept. Now, it is important to be mindful of pet-borne infections. The CDC does remind us that animals can sometimes carry harmful germs, which can spread to people. Those cause illnesses called zoonotic diseases. So an example of that would be ticks, which can spread numerous diseases, which might hitch a ride on your furry friend. Older adults and people who are immunocompromised also need to be a little more aware and be mindful of washing your hands after you interact with a pet. And if you're cleaning a litter box, bird cage, or aquarium, we recommend that you wear a mask and gloves. And then last but not least, when you're seeking out a new pet, keep in mind that the relationship will last longer and be better for both of you if you select a pet whose size, weight, temperament, and care needs really fit your home and your abilities. And I know I'm blitzing through this. I will mention that at the end of this presentation, we will have plenty of time for questions. Now, it's really important to consider your pets in your emergency planning. Your pets will be even more dependent on you in an emergency for their safety and well-being. So you want to think through a couple of things, including a to-go bag for your animal. So maybe include food and water to last a week, extra medication of theirs, pet appropriate first aid supplies, even consider including your pet's vaccination and medical records. I recommend putting a Save Our Pet alert sticker on your door or window. This alerts firefighters and first responders that you have animals in the home. You are able to get one of these stickers free from the Red Cross. And as always make sure that your pets are microchipped, have a collar, harness, and ID that has your most current contact information. I mentioned the Red Cross already. I'm going to promote them again because they have a wonderful section of their emergency preparedness website on pet disaster preparedness. And we'll make sure you get that link both in the chat and after this presentation. So we also want to think about physical limitations and how they affect your pet ownership. And I want you to know that there are plenty of adaptive pet options for you. So while I won't be recommending specific brands today, all of these can be easily found online. So let's just take a quick look of some of what's on the screen here. So you can see kind of in the top left, we have these long-handled foldable pooper scoopers, and in the lower left, the easy feed pet bowls with the long handle. Both of these prevent you from having to bend over. So if that's a concern for you, these are a great solution. Now, for walking your dog, you might also want to consider hands-free dog leashes, waist leashes, wrist leashes. They even make gripless glove leashes, as well as wheelchair leashes that will attach to the side of the wheelchair and keep both the leash and your pet safely away from the wheels. There's also many options for playing with your pet, including automatic ball launchers, wall-attached dog toys that will help keep your dog entertained without you having to exert physical energy. And there are also many, many automatic cat toys. Speaking of cats, don't want to forget to mention a self-cleaning litter box, which is a wonderful option. It quickly removes your cat's waste and prevents you from having to do that daily scooping. Taking a moment for service and emotional support animals, which you may have heard of. They're becoming more and more common. Service pets are working animals that help people with mobility issues, visual or hearing impairments, psychiatric disorders, autism spectrum disorders, and then medical issues like diabetes, seizures, and more. So if you're looking for a service animal to help you gain autonomy and a sense of security, a good resource for finding one is the Assistance Dog International website, which is an accrediting bureau for nonprofit service dog organizations. I also want to just point out that an emotional support animal is different than a certified service animal, and there's likely more restrictions on where you can or cannot take an emotional support animal. Emotional support animals provide companionship, they help relieve loneliness, sometimes will help with depression, anxiety, certain phobias, but they don't have that extra training that allow them to perform tasks to help people with disabilities. So just know that there are differences between the two, but both do require formal certification. All right, so you've been listening to me for long enough. I think it's time for another poll. So I would like to know what your concerns are about pet ownership as you age. And please click as many as you're thinking of. But is it that you're no longer physically able to take care of your pet? Perhaps concerned that future living situations wouldn't be pet friendly? You like to travel, maybe you're not sure what to do with your pet while you're gone. Of course, financial concerns, and then understandable concerns about who would take care of your pet if something would happen to you. So I'm going to give it about 10 more seconds for people to reply. All right, seeing a lot of responses here. I'm going to go ahead and share. Thank you to everyone who participated. And it looks like we have a broad spectrum of concerns here, though the biggest is what would happen if something were to happen to me, who would take care of my pet? Followed pretty closely by no longer physically being able to take care of my pet. So know that all of these are very common, very valid concerns, but there are some ways to address these concerns in advance and make sure that your pet would be well taken care of in any circumstance. So I want to point out adaptive options for pets. You might need to make some modifications to accommodate an older or special needs pet, but there are a lot of options, including pet stairs and ramps like you'll see in this image. Many of them can be moved around for beds, cars, and more. There are lift support harnesses that will help you lift your animal. Of course, if your pet needs it, there are prosthetics and wheelchairs now, but for lift support harnesses and wheelchairs or any sort of medical equipment like that, of course, do talk to your veterinarian. I want to point out in the bottom right, this automatic pet heating pad, which turns on with pressure and off without, so you don't have to worry about it being left on all day. This is a wonderful option for pets who might have joint problems. It will just help relieve their pain a bit, and you can find those easily at your local pet store or online. But remember, it is really important, especially for older pets, to really be proactive in monitoring their health. So make sure to schedule those regular checkups with your vet, catch health issues early on, and make sure that your pet is receiving the right treatment. And you do want to be mindful of your pet's emotional needs as well. Older pets and pets with disabilities might need more attention and love. So make sure that you're giving them that regular playtime, walks, cuddles that help them feel loved and appreciated. And you might even want to consider getting your pet a pet. Some animals do better with companions, though that's not the case for all. There are many animals who will do just fine solo and in fact may prefer to be the only pet in the house. And one last comment, always want to promote microchipping and making sure that your animal is tagged. I know I mentioned it before, but it bears mention again. And know that there are even GPS tracker tags that you can get now, Apple Air tags that you can attach to a collar that will actually track your pet in real time. So we took that poll, we looked at some of the concerns of being an older pet owner. So let's talk about some ways to plan ahead. It is important to designate a trusted caregiver, and maybe more than one contingent caregiver for your pet to ensure that they're well taken care of if you can't be there. So make sure that your designated caregiver knows your pet's needs, their diet, any medication, routines, and medical information. Pets are part of the family, and these are all ways that you can make sure that your pet is well taken care of in the event if something happens to you. So I'm also going to speak about including provisions in your will. You can create a will that includes provisions for your pet that'll help ensure that their future is secure. And so this includes leaving formal instructions for their care, including financial provisions, and making sure that your wishes are carried out. You can also set up a trust for your pet. So trust can provide a source of funding for your pet's care and help ensure that they're taken care of just as you would for any family member if you're not around. I also want to mention if you're looking for a caregiver and you're unable to find one, or you'd like to designate in your will who would be the caregiver of your pet if you were to pass, that would be your local shelter's guardianship program. So again, if you're unable to identify a caregiver, talk to your local animal shelter. Many of them have pet guardianship programs, which means you enter into a formal agreement with them that they will take your animal in case of anything happening to you, and they will give them a loving home, take care of their medical and emotional needs before finding them a new placement. So do be aware of that option, but never too early to make these considerations and to plan for your pet's future. And you also may be thinking about what may happen to your pet if you needed to move into assisted living or retirement community. All communities have their own unique rules when it comes to pets. Some don't allow you to have them at all. Others will restrict them by breed or by size or weight. You also might be restricted how many pets you wish to have. So if this is a consideration, here are some key questions to ask a prospective community. Is there a one-time or monthly pet fee? How many pets are currently in the community, and are there limits? Making sure you're aware of any vaccines or shots that are required. Are there specific animals or breeds that aren't allowed? And what if I or my loved one can no longer care for my pet? But luckily, it has become so much easier to find pet-friendly living options, and many assisted living and retirement living websites now have a search filter for pets. So a popular one is A Place for Mom. You can now filter out and see only those locations that do accept pets. And I know there's a couple of you in the chat today who said you were looking to find a pet. So some considerations for that. And we are lucky in the internet age to have kind of an endless availability of search databases for us. So make sure you're looking on those big national websites, but also those local shelter websites as well. But please don't hesitate to visit in person, because it often is just looking an animal in the eye to fall in love with them. So if you're close to a shelter, go in person. Please don't count out senior pets if you're considering adoption. And also know that the term senior really varies by pet. It's based on breed, factors in size, and other health indicators. So for example, some large sizes of dogs are actually considered seniors at age 5. So don't let the term senior make you nervous. Senior animals can often be already come house trained. That was the case with my senior rescue, Peppa. She was well house trained, very calm as an older animal, and she's brought so much joy in my life. And the other advantage is most adoption centers will waive the fee for adopting older senior animals. Now, you might need extra assistance in caring for your pets. So I want to talk through a couple of options, including finding help. Always look for recommendations for friends, family. Maybe if you're on the Nextdoor app, you might search there. Of course, ask your veterinarian. And then there's a lot of websites like Pet Sitters International, rover.com, that will all help you find professional help for your animal. So that may be if you're working in an office, that may be someone to come in once a day to walk your dog around lunchtime. It might be someone to take care of your cat while you're traveling. So lots of options for additional help with your pet. And you might want to consider only seeking professional pet assistance from a certified professional. So if this is the case, you want to seek professionals certified by the National Association of Professional Pet Sitters or Pet Sitters International. They have a great vetted database. I also want to mention pet insurance, which is something I often get questions about. Pet insurance is a form of insurance that pays partly or in total for veterinary treatment of the insured person's ill or injured pet. There are many pet insurance companies on the market. I will mention that if you're an AARP member, you do receive a discount on Fetch insurance, but review each plan closely because pet insurance does work quite a bit differently than health insurance. So be sure to read all the fine print before enrolling in pet insurance. And if you're in need of financial assistance in the care of your companion animal, know that there are many local programs available to help. Assistance might include subsidized veterinary care, help with pet food and supplies, animal transport, and so on. So to find local assistance for your pet, do a quick search online or talk to your local veterinary hospital or animal shelter. They should have several recommendations. Now, we spoke earlier about the health benefits of pet ownership, including how pets help older adults avoid social isolation. To take this a step further, you might be considering volunteering with your pet. So if so, a couple ideas for how to do that. You can certify your pet as a therapy animal. This means that you will be certified to visit nursing homes, hospitals, schools, and so on, visiting with your animal to provide emotional support and joy to reach past those traditional forms of healing. And it's really a wonderful program. So if you're interested in that, look up your local or national therapy dog organization and see about getting certified. You might also want to join something like a dog-friendly fundraiser or walk. And if you don't have an animal but would like to be around them, or you already have one but just can't get enough, consider volunteering at your local shelter. They are always in need of volunteers. You can help with anything from cleaning, grooming, admin, to events. Now, you also might want to consider fostering an animal. Those who already have pets in the home can also foster. Fostering an animal means that you are providing an animal with temporary shelter before they're permanently adopted. And a foster placement usually lasts between 1 week and 3 months. If you already have a pet in the home, there might be additional screening required before they make a foster placement. Foster families are wonderful. They offer temporary homing for the animal, but also can help really provide that critical pre-adoption training and socialization skills that will make them easier to adopt. And of course, foster fails do happen and they happen often. So if you fall in love with the pet that you are fostering and decide that you want to formally adopt them, you will almost certainly be first in line for that adoption. So that is all for today. Our furry friends bring us so much love and affection, and just like humans, each pet is one of a kind and unique, has their own personality and needs. But by embracing the unconditional love of pet ownership while still anticipating your pet-related needs, you're really helping to ensure a brighter, happier future for all members of your fur family. Thank you so much again for being here today, and I would love to open it up to any questions.
Oh, thank you so much, Rachel. This information you shared has been extremely helpful. So let's go over the chat. Jacqueline, what questions do you see in the chat for Rachel?
A lot of pet owners are asked, talking, like one lady says her dogs are senior. She has 3 senior girls, 13, 12, and 11, and they're growing old with her. And they have joint issues too. Can you tell us a little bit about that? About how to cope with that?
Sure. Of course, I'm going to say talk to your veterinarian. My personal experience has been, I do have my dog on a joint supplement that has been tremendously helpful. So talk to your veterinarian about that. There are also options now like acupuncture and massage for pets that really do help. And then just making sure that they're not having to climb anything that might be difficult for them. So maybe bringing in more ramps or stairs for them. But there's a lot of options. There's even braces that you can get. My dog Peppa kind of pulled a little muscle while she was chasing a toy, and she had a little leg brace on for a week, and it was kind of sad and cute, but it worked. And so lots of options for you.
Okay. Thanks.
Can you tell us a little bit the difference about rehoming versus fostering? Is that different?
Yeah. So my knowledge of rehoming is a dog who has already been with a family. And for whatever reason, maybe the family has moved, maybe someone in the family has passed away, the family is no longer able to keep that animal. So that's what rehoming means. And they may be rehomed to a shelter or to a foster. And then fostering, you may be fostering a rehomed animal, but it also might be a stray that was found, or even a new puppy from a new litter.
Okay. I think with all the different types of pets and things like that, you can't really walk a turtle or anything, but he can still bring you lots of love.
This is totally true. I saw someone walking a tortoise over the weekend down my street. So you say it can't be done, but I've seen it with my own eyes.
I stand corrected. Thank you so much. One lady was saying that Jane was saying that her oldest girl takes gabapentin, like she does. And carprofen is an anti-inflammatory intended for dogs, and it really works.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple good options in the chat. Consequin is what my pet is on, and I apologize if you're hearing background noise. There's some construction happening outside. But yes, there are so many options. It seems like there's more options by the day practically. So again, do talk to your vet and see what might work best.
And one other question, how do you help an adopted dog that is aggressive to other dogs?
Great question. I would advise behavioral training. That's something that your vet can help you find. There's likely local classes, or you may want to work one-on-one and really get to, what are the root of the aggression issues? How can you maybe avoid situations that may kind of overstimulate your dog? And then what are the solutions for that? So training would be my advice on that. And there are also calming treats, there's calming medications. So if this seems like this is an ongoing issue that's not going away, also talk to your vet about that.
Training can be very expensive, especially for seniors. Are you aware of any organizations or groups that help provide free training or discounted training for pets?
Great question. So when you adopt an animal from a shelter, there is usually some sort of training option available to you that is either free or very low cost. There are also a lot of pet stores. So I know like Petco by my house offers training classes that are very well priced. But if you're looking for something else, again, recommend reaching out to your shelter, to your veterinarian, just to see what might be available that's low cost or free of charge.
Okay. You mentioned this just a little bit. How do you know if your pet needs or wants a buddy?
Good question. Well, I can't totally speak for the pets, but I'll try. I think you want to just be really aware of their behavior and also if their behavior has changed suddenly. So one thing to be mindful of, if you have a pair of pets that have been together and one passes, that can be very emotionally stressful on the other animal. So you might want to consider getting another animal if that's the situation, because they are in need of that companionship. But in general, just see, do they seem lonely? Are they tearing up things in the house? Perhaps you have a camera. I know when I had to go back to the office, crazy dog mom that I am, I got a little camera for my house. So now I can just go on my phone and watch what Peppa's doing while I'm in the office. And she seems just fine. But if I were to see her, walking in circles or perhaps always hovering by the door, waiting for someone to be there, I would be a little more concerned. So just be mindful of your pet's behaviors and how they may be changing over time. You can also, if you're considering adopting another animal, a shelter will always allow you to bring your pet with you to see how they interact. And for fostering, if you're fostering, you might just be able to do like a test run with a potential adopter who already has a pet in the home.
Yeah. Last question, but Ed wants to know, is there legal specialists to draft trust are there legal specialists to draft trust documents, etc. for pets after someone passes?
That is a good question. I don't believe there's someone whose sole specialty is that, but I do think that most like estate planners would be able to integrate pet care into a will or estate plan. But there is also a tremendous amount of guidance online. So you can search for examples of pet care documents and things like that to see what others have done. So know that that's available as well.
Oh, okay. And someone did mention that, Cindy mentioned that there's lots of training videos on YouTube that you can use to help take care of your pet and train your pet.
Cindy, thank you so much for mentioning that. That can't be underestimated. There is so much free educational information out there, and you might want to start there just with those kind of simple training actions by video. I should also mention grooming is something that can get quite expensive. My dog Peppa is hypoallergenic, which means she doesn't shed, but her hair grows really, really quickly, meaning grooming gets extraordinarily costly. So my solution was to buy myself a clipper set and watch a bunch of YouTube tutorials and do my best. And I will say I have improved over time. So if grooming finances are a concern for you, or you just want to try it yourself, there are a zillion tutorials available, and you can get professional clippers online.
That's a good idea, especially with nail clipping. I was like, okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Joyce, back to you.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. All that information that you gave me, I am so excited. So I think I may go the adoption or the find a pet because I love that. Thanks again. But before we close out, we'd like to take a quick pause on what our audience have learned. So can you please put in the chat, what did you learn from today's presentation? I know that it was so much information from Rachel, but just at least pick at least one thing that you've learned. And Jacqueline, when they put it in there, please share it.
I will. Sophie has learned so many interesting new and adaptive tools that can be used. I learned that too from that slide. That was really interesting. The long hooper scooper.
That long hooper thing, yeah.
Because you know that is my favorite thing to do. The lady with Kathleen learned about the food dish with the long handle. I wasn't aware of that either. That was very interesting. Valerie learned how to include that you can include the pets in your trust or your will. Ed learned that he's not the only one who's concerned about his fur baby as he gets older. It's very reassuring.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Cindy learned about pet guardianships at shelters. Yeah, that was very informative. And Brenda is very interested in the heating pad for the dog and happy to know that there is one for him as we age. You can both take out your heating pads.
Yeah, I know, we can heat together.
But that's good information.
It really is. It gets cold out there on that floor sometimes, so I can understand.
Right. Michelle learned about braces for dogs and arranging, I think said before, guardianship through rescue shelters. So there's a lot of information that you have shared with us today that we really didn't know. You just love your pet and he loves you. And you don't even know about some of the other tools that are available.
Do we have any more questions?
Let's see.
Do you see one more?
One they learned about a simple thing. I learned about the mat under the bowl, which was very helpful. Yeah, reduce spills.
I didn't even think of that. I always put towels up under mine, but that mat sounds a lot better.
Okay. Oh, Brenda has been inspired to spend more time with her fur baby as he ages.
Aww.
Yeah. So, it's just been a variety of things. I haven't seen much about turtles, and no one out there has turtles or birds that we want to talk about.
Cleaning that bird cage is one of them.
Oh, or the aquarium.
The aquarium.
And Priscilla said her mom has a turtle that she's been caring for 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've really had a lot of information today. It's been good, definitely.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Jacqueline, and thank everyone for putting those great questions in the chat. I really appreciate it.
And you know what? If you give me just a moment, I'm going to put that Red Cross pet site in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Rachel. This was very interesting. There's a lot of things that you covered that I didn't even have a clue about pets. But again, I had a dog a long time ago, and then unfortunately he passed away, and then we moved into an apartment. But I'm going to find a way of getting me another furry friend again, now that I know what to do.
And somebody said if you rent an apartment and your pet is a ESA animal, that you can get free rent. You might want to look into that, Joyce.
Free rent?
Uh-huh.
Or the free pet rent.
Free rent, yeah!
That's all you heard.
Free rent. No, but I love animals. They're so cuddly and cute. I just love them. I just want to make sure that I get another one. So, and finally, please let us know how we are doing by filling out our survey. The link will be placed in the chat. Thank you so very much. And we'd like to invite you to our quarterly series, Piggy Bank Essentials with Martin. First one starts on Thursday, May the 25th at 9 a.m. as we discuss the gig economy. Also, join us for our next Tea and Coffee monthly meeting on June 13th at 9 a.m. We will have a discussion on difficult conversations, discussing money with your kids and grandkids. Again, a big thank you to our guest, Rachel. You were absolutely wonderful, so pleasant. Those slides were great. Thank you for putting things in the chat.